if you're ready to take your finances. Welcome to the next stop on your journey from paycheck to pension. If you're ready to take your finances to the next level, you're in the right place. It's time to take control of your future, starting now, and we're doing it live. Hi, we're the Stidhams, and our goal is to help you get self-directed. It's the tax-free income that will shape your legacy. It's wealth, time, and the freedom you deserve. What you're about to learn will enable you to make confident and strategic moves. It means gaining complete control to invest in what you want when you want. We've helped thousands of people just like you. And if they can do it, you can too. So we hope you're ready, because it's about time that your money started working for you. And we're so excited that you chose us to show you how.
Starting right now.
Welcome back. Welcome in.
Heavy welcome.
I'm excited tonight because we kind of wanted to, well, you said we got to get on here and apologize. We can't just be leaving this out there for people to maybe misconceptions about something that we said.
Yep. So Wednesday on our live, we talked about how a mother and daughter teamed up to be able to build legacy, generate income, blah, 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 MPI, good fun, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
But
building the family bank is really what we were talking about.
absolutely. And the thought process was this, hey, maybe I'm too old to start my own MPI plan. If my goal is X, then maybe it may make more sense for me to start a policy with my daughter to be able to build that income or create that income that I'm looking for. And I think I may have inadvertently insinuated some things that I didn't intend to, but I just want to make sure we clean that up. One of the biggest ones being, is 60 old? No, absolutely not. Is 60 too old to have an MPI plan? Absolutely not. But I may have, like I said, inadvertently kind of insinuated that. So I just want to make sure we clean that up.
Okay, Fireworks says, yeah, I'm 44 months. His doesn't make sense.
I'm 40.
I don't know. Okay, moving on. Here's some tips, some tidbits I'm going to throw in here about being around 60 years old.
How do you know?
Well, I'm going to tell you, okay? If you're probably familiar with all these people. If you're not, maybe you're just not from here. So that's a different conversation. Brad Pitt. These people are turning 60 this year. Brad Pitt, John Stamos from Full House, Tom Cruise, Michael Jordan.
Mike 60? Wow.
60. Big. Wow. 60. Vanessa Williams, Johnny Depp, Quentin Tarantino, and Lisa Kudrow from Friends. They're all 60 years old. And so I think that that's the part we did want to clear up is one, we didn't mean for it to seem like 60 was old.
Right.
It's not. But there are some factors. It doesn't really matter your age. The age part is a separate factor from your health, right?
Right.
I saw this term recently called wealth care. And I was like, oh yeah, we're taking that. This essentially is the same thing. No different than focusing on your health, focusing on your wealth to make sure that you have what you need, whether it's your condition, your physical condition, or your financial condition to make it through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what we want to talk about is clear that up and talk about this mother and daughter duo. Now, this really hit home for some people. This hit home because some people don't qualify because of their health.
Right.
Not just because of their age, but they may have another factor. And so learning how to leverage a powerful strategy like this is important, especially if you have insurable interest or the concept of the family bank, which is what we had discussed last week. So that's what we're going to go over and we're going to clear up. And we have an update because we did talk back to the mother and daughter. So you want to unroll the updates?
Yeah, we can jump right in, really.
Okay.
If you want to slide over to the vibe board. Yep. And again, I start these off all the same way. There's several strategies that we talk through. This just happens to be one of many. We spend a lot of time talking about a secure compound interest account, mainly because it's passive. Everything else really takes action, takes some effort from you. But what I really like about a secure compound interest account is the fact that you set it and forget it. But obviously, we focus on getting self-directed. What does that ultimately mean? You having control over what that path forward looks like for you, whether we're talking about a secure compound interest account, a self-directed IRA, or 401k, how to generate, create, or increase your cash flow through velocity banking or infinite banking, or getting in place of your mortgage, some type of HELOC situation, first position or second, to be able to, again, the whole goal being free up cash flow so that I can put it somewhere where it can start working for me. So kind of always, even though someone doesn't like this slide being on
I should have
other
fixed
color
it. Yeah.
backgrounds, but
But it's important to see the 5 strategies. So
absolutely, absolutely. And I want to make sure this is also clear. My objective is not, it seems as though I may imply also that IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, government 457 plans are bad. And the truth is, they're really not. The problem is the vehicles that they are invested in. If you can get your 401k out of the market, it can be pretty powerful. But right now, most of us who have a traditional retirement account, it's stuck in the casino. It's stuck in the market, meaning it is not a wealth building account. It is an investment account, meaning, let's go with blue, meaning as the market's doing great, you do great. But if something happens, if we change presidents, if Elon Musk hops into a spaceship, whatever the issue might be, we are subject to whatever the market does inside of our traditional retirement accounts. The objective here is to create uninterrupted, secure compound interest. And how do you do that? Well, it's a mathematical equation. You do that by eliminating or reducing risk. If you can eliminate the risk, if you can pay yourself first, put it in a vehicle where you pay yourself first right now, and secure the money that you're inputting into that vehicle. Get that money compounding. Compounding just means your money making money, and the money that your money makes more money. And if you're in a position to be able to use leverage to exponentially grow it, you can generate wealth, because the key to that equation is you are reducing, if not eliminating, risk. And at my age, I don't have time to lose. So what we had talked about last week was Brenda. Brenda is in a fairly solid position. Her main objective is to be able to generate income. So Brenda being 60, and again, I want to apologize because I think what I'm implying here is, hey, Brenda's objective is to be able to retire with an additional $50,000 of income, and generating it in some fashion. So that's the ultimate goal. She is receiving a military retirement pension, but that doesn't mean she's not still working. She absolutely is still working. And I think this picture implies that 60 must mean she doesn't qualify herself, so she had to take a different approach. And so,
hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Really, what it was is Donnell was like, "Look, you made her look old." Okay, I was on the Zoom with this lady, and I'm gonna tell you right now, she's Black don't crack. She is not looking like this. Okay, you need to represent it. Give her the credit that she deserves. We need to fix this. We need to correct this. We need to go in there and find a different character for her, because this is not the vibe that she's giving.
What's hilarious about that is those were her exact words.
She's giving mid-40s latest. Like, this is disrespectful, this caricature of her at 60. However, I want to say this before you move forward. Mm-hmm. If you go to Google and you Google up 60 in Google, everybody has gray hair.
Yeah.
Everybody looking old at 60 inside of Google. So that's just covering my self and where I was at with this, okay? But to her credit, she's a baddie. Now we reflected that in her character. So
Absolutely.
Please forgive us. Okay,
and
moving on.
Where we had ended last week was here, or last week on Wednesday was here. And that was, hey, mom and daughter decided to band together, and instead of doing a secure compound interest account on mom, decided to kind of merge their cash flow together and do a secure compound interest account on the daughter, who at age 30, by using that 15-year time horizon, they would have accumulated about $80,000 in tax-free income. And then by 50, everybody could be retired. And so I met with them again this week, and it allowed me to then reassess what we were talking about. The truth is, Brenda is nowhere near ready for retirement. And the thought process was this: the math said, you know what? It would be more efficient for us to do a secure compound interest account on her daughter, because at $1,000 a month, mathematically, it wasn't allowing Brenda to be able to hit her goal. And so the thought process was, if we do something on her daughter, there's about double the income that could potentially be produced. And in addition, if the daughter contributed also, it could be a significantly larger dollar amount. Well, as we started going down this path, number one, Brenda is not retired. She is still working. Her time horizon is 15 years, which means her intention is to continue to work beyond those 15 years. And so the thought process was this: not only do we want to combine, or Brenda wants to fund a secure compound interest account for her daughter, but in addition to that, she still wants to do a secure compound interest account for herself, knowing that, yeah, mathematically, it may not turn out to be the same dollar amount as what we're doing on her daughter, but still, the goal, her objective, is not just income. Her objective is also legacy. So what does that mean? If something were to happen to Brenda, she wants to make sure there is a vehicle there that can support her kids and, build a legacy for the future. So meaning the life insurance is important. So even though the income may not be the amount that would allow her to retire and ride off into the sunset, in doing a combination of both something on her daughter and something on herself would allow us to achieve both those goals. And so what I just wanted to talk through was, there's this range, because I meet with a lot of clients in this range of somewhere between, I'll call it 50 to 65. I've met with a few over. Obviously, I always meet with a fair amount of people that are younger. But when we talk about legacy, and if you're wondering whether or not a secure compound interest account may or may not fit you, I wouldn't say this is an exhaustive list. And I also wouldn't say that this list is in this order. But my point is, as we're talking through, hey, does a secure compound interest account make sense for me in this age range? Whether you're still a little bit younger or a little bit older, doesn't matter. It's this range. It's all about your time horizon. I run across a lot of people who, you know what, I'm 62 years old and I don't plan on working beyond 65. So my time horizon is 3 years. Is a secure compound interest account a good fit for you? Health. Yeah, maybe I'm diabetic, or maybe I have high blood pressure, but I keep myself in very good shape and I am continuing to work. I work out often. Is my health, what's the impact of my health on a secure compound interest account? How much cash flow? When we're talking about this range, although the minimum might be 10 times your age every month, it is not, I'll call it, realistic for a 60-year-old to think that putting away $600 a month will allow them to be able to achieve a sufficient income to be able to truly produce retirement income in, again, depending on that time horizon. And then there you go with the age. Whether it's 55, 65, 68, age definitely plays a factor, but is not the only factor. And then this last one, and this is the piece that in meeting with Brenda and her daughter this week, we really had to dig into the details of what is the true goal. It is not just income. The goal is also legacy, being able to leave something sufficient enough for my kids to be taken care of. So how many of these boxes are we checking? And we also have to identify what is that amount. And in this case, in this example's case, the time horizon is 15 years. And health is excellent. Not a problem there. Cash flow, we're talking, because Brenda's still working, the cash flow that she decided to contribute to her daughter's account was around $1,500. Around $1,500. But in addition, she makes about $70,000 a year on top of her military retirement pension. So in addition to that, she decided to do about $1,500 for herself. So cash flow of about $3,000 for herself, to be able to split between her secure compound interest account and her daughter, age 60. And then what's the goal? The goal is absolutely legacy as well as income. So It's not just one thing. There's some pieces here that we want to be able to solve, and to kind of just highlight what those results look like. Slide over here. That looks good. So again, I know it's a little bit small. I'll make it a little bit bigger, but what I want to do is jump over to the calculator and just kind of talk through or show what these dollar amounts look like in the calculator as it relates to the goal. And it is in 15 years, we want to put away approximately $2,500 a month. So 30 years old, till age 45, putting away $2,500 a month. We're talking $102,000 in tax-free retirement income by her age of 45, which would be mom's age of 75. That $2,500 a month is buying about $1.2 million in life insurance. And that death benefit, if something were to happen after that 15-year period, we'd be looking at more like $6 million. And in addition, there's liquid cash available of almost $900,000. So pretty significant, putting away $2,500 a month between both mom and daughter. Well, what does this look like from a legacy perspective for mom's play, for Brenda's play? So she's 60 years old at the moment. And again, same 15-year time horizon. It's 75. And the dollar amount that we're looking to contribute is $1,500. So understanding that this one may not be as significant of an income play, but the goal is, so $37,000 tax-free income. I'm not going to call that super great, but it's definitely not bad, especially on top of the $102,000 that we're talking about the daughter being able to achieve. But we've got a liquid asset worth $432,000. So that's liquid cash flow. And in addition, there's $270,000 in life insurance being purchased. And God forbid, if something were to happen, we're talking about almost $1 million in death benefit that would pay out to the family. So again, mom's concern was, look, if something were to happen to me, I want to make sure that the properties can be paid off and I am not a burden, or this event didn't become a burden to the family. So she wanted something in addition. And so what this ultimately turned into is $102,000 plus $37,000. So we're talking almost $140,000 in tax-free income in 15 years. And again, the original goal was $50,000. So not only did we exceed that goal, theoretically, the daughter could retire if she wanted to. Mom has a sufficient income, and we have a legacy that mom was hoping to be able to generate. Now, the next piece of this puzzle is, what do we do with all of this? Because if legacy is the goal, then how do we make sure that creditors aren't impacting the ability to be able to secure this retirement long term and all of those kind of things if something were to happen to anyone? And that's where we introduce a trust. So, sweetheart, if you slide back over to the vibe board.
Yep, there you go.
So, moral of the story is, within 15 years, we're talking about, again, $102,000 coming from the daughter's secure compound interest account, mom's secure compound interest account being about $37,000. So we're talking about almost $140,000 in tax-free income is being generated. She also has a son that we didn't even discuss. So there's an opportunity to also potentially start something on her son as well, who's younger. And the last piece is, where does all of this go? What do we do with it? And as these machines start to take form, and as income is starting to be generated, and as cash value is starting to grow, the opportunity is to make sure all of this rolls up into a vehicle that can not only just be secure, but it can also sustain whatever happens to whomever. And so, and what I'm talking about there is making sure these dollars end up in a trust. And so that could look several different ways. That could be the secure compound interest accounts, the owner of the secure compound interest accounts, instead of it being mom or the daughter, the owner actually being the trust that's generated. And the beneficiary, meaning if someone passes away, that death benefit also rolls up in the trust. Well, what does that allow? That allows for now, if you structure, because I focus heavily on structure, if you structure the trust properly, now we're talking about a machine that all it does is distribute its income for the next 50 years. Now, there are many layers to this, but the moral of the story is this is the next play because we've now determined now got a vehicle that can produce a significant or sufficient amount of income. The next play of this equation would be introducing a trust. Any question about any of that, sweetheart?
Well, we don't have any questions right now, but there's a few people that said that they did have questions, so they were going to be putting them in the chat. So now is a great time to put those questions in so we can get to them. Okay,
Yep.
I have a question
Yep.
about just the concept of where your initial conversation with them was, then you moved into what was kind of like peeling back layers to achieve a different goal than what was originally stated in the beginning. And I think this is a pretty common thing.
Especially with me. I
Yeah.
mean, because I don't push. Like, for instance, when we sit down, I don't have an agenda. I ask questions because my objective is to ask enough questions to understand where the opportunities are. And then my objective is to try to connect those dots. And I love throwing your words back at you. So if you tell me the objective is income, I'm going to break down what this looks like so that you can achieve the best income or the best opportunity to achieve income that I at least see. But as we peel back those layers and you start using words like legacy and what if and these are my concerns and wanting to make sure people are taken care of, well, that's different from just income. Now we're talking about, if something were to happen to you, what are you leaving and what is that vehicle that it's in? And so therefore the conversation evolves.
When you ask people what is your goal, Firewolf, give us a dollar amount, and then we'll do this whole example because he has a great question.
Okay.
I think what he's asking is how much does his family get, and does it change over time? So give us a dollar amount so we can give you kind of a better example, and that would be good. Here's what I see when you say what is your goal, and then when people are writing in, they're emailing in, they're texting in, or they're on the call with you, and they say, okay, and I know my goal. My goal is to get self-directed. My goal is to create income. They don't have a specific goal in mind, and the actual goal is still like 2 to 3 layers below that goal.
Absolutely. I want to become self-directed is an umbrella.
Yeah,
There's a whole lot of things that fit under that umbrella. I
right.
want I want to build a legacy.
I want
Man, that's an
control.
umbrella. I want control. Those I want to get down to because if you tell me I want generational wealth, my first question is going to be, okay, take me out of the equation and take anything that you've seen that I might offer out of the equation. What are you doing right now to create that generational wealth? Like, what are the vehicles you currently have in place? They lay out the vehicles that they have in place: 401k, IRA, cryptocurrency, whatever those vehicles are. And I go, magic wand, you are now at retirement age. Is there a gap? Meaning, based off these vehicles you have today, and here's your goal for generational wealth, where are we? Is there a
Yeah.
gap? And usually, absolutely, there's a gap. Then I want to know what is that gap. And again, I don't need an Excel sheet for you to tell me what that gap is. I want to know in here and in here where you think that gap is. Hey,
Mm.
you know what? I think based off my current job and the stuff I have in my 401k, that gap is probably $5,000 a month. Okay, then what are you doing right now today to bridge that gap between that $5,000 a month? Well, that's why I'm talking to you. Okay. Or these are the things that I'm doing. And so it's peeling those layers back and getting to the root of, you know what? Here's where the opportunities are.
And I think some people don't know what to say as the goal because you could say anything. I want my grandkids to live in a castle. You know what I mean? Like you could put anything as a goal, but what is truly obtainable? And I
Right.
think that's probably one of the biggest obstacles for people when they are but talking to you anyway, or even thinking about this question, because what is it that I could have? Like, what are my options? And then I'll tell you what my goal is.
Right.
Like, if I have a history of Parkinson's disease in my family, and I want to be a brain surgeon or something that requires my hands, and I want to have this as a long-term career, I might already be thinking this is just an example. I don't know why. This is probably not a good example. But I might already be thinking or canceling that as an option because I might be thinking, you know what? With everybody else in the shaking, I can't, it's not a good fit for me, probably.
Yep.
So just in case. And, they don't want to be messing people up
Right.
doing the brain surgery. So I'm just saying that what the goal is has to start with what the goal isn't. If
Right.
the goal is not to be broke, the goal is financial security. What does that look like? But I love how you shape that with people and help them define that goal so that they can at least walk away going, I didn't see it like this before. And now I've got a project ahead of me and I love that I have a path. So we've
And
got
to,
some questions when you're ready.
okay, but to me, it's an elephant, right? And you handle the elephant one bite at a time. So if we can at least walk away from a conversation with some actionable steps, meaning, okay, I have better identified that, you know what, the math around this goal is I need an additional $3,000 a month, and as of today, I don't have anything to close that gap. Maybe you've got some previous employers' plans that you want to self-direct, and there's a real estate opportunity that you want to take advantage of to help get you there. Or maybe you've got these previous employers' plans, and based off some of the conversations that we've had, there are these annuities, these growth annuities that maybe they're not MPI, but they offer a 0% floor that allows me to not lose money whenever something happens in the market. So this annuity that you give me, give that money the right amount of a time horizon, it produces a lifetime of income that helps close that gap. So there's just so much, but the key is just kind of peeling those layers back. So let's jump into the questions.
Yep. Okay.
Let's go to
Firewolf
Firewolf.
says
Let's go.
he wants to know the basics. How much does my family get if I get popped? And does that change over time? Maybe do an example.
Popped as in shot.
Well, that's the only pop we know. Okay. He's like, what if it goes down and my family, what
And you
would they
get
get?
shot by your family?
No, that he didn't say that. Don't add to the story. It's his story. Firewolf. Should we ask him?
So Firewolf, how old are you? Because I can make it like I can go however you want to go. I'll put you at 45. So if
Okay.
you're 45 years old and you want to drop $10,000 a year inside of a secure compound interest account, what does it look like?
Yep.
I will absolutely get there. But I also want to highlight a couple of his other questions. I've never heard of you talk about how the seller of MPI makes his money, and it seems shady. Can I address those first?
Yeah.
Okay.
By
And
all
then
means.
we'll jump into the calculator. And while I'm kind of explaining that, Firewolf, if you want to add some more details as far as like what your age is and your time horizon, is this a 10-year goal, 15-year goal, what that looks like, then I can better build this out. But let's start with this seems shady. And what I love about this question, because I get it a lot. Tell me the last time you saw a life insurance commercial where they said, hey, come over here and let me show you how to make more income. Like that is not the business model of State Farm or Allstate or any other life insurance company out there, right? So you're telling me there's a secure compound interest account with the foundation being a life insurance based product that's supposed to adequately produce income for me? Like it doesn't sound right. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't. But how about this? It's been around since 1997. It's been around since the time Roth IRAs were introduced. So maybe you're just now hearing about MPI, but the concept of how money grows inside of a life insurance based product has been around since the Roth IRA has been around. And we don't question the Roth IRA, right? But why didn't you know about it? So let's kind of break that down a little bit. The structure of a secure compound interest account like maximum premium indexing is based off this concept called premium financing. Okay, so what is premium financing? And you can Google it. It starts out with the LIRP. LIRP stands for Life Insurance Retirement Plan. In 1997, when Roth came out, and assuming we all understand what Roth means, hey, I put a certain dollar amount away and I'm able to build tax-free income, tax-free growth for life. Awesome. Well, life insurance companies went, we want to be able to participate in tax-free growth as well. So they created this concept called premium financing. Premium financing is where you use a life insurance-based product like an IUL, and you add leverage into that policy to help grow it faster, to help build cash value quickly. Well, where does that leverage come from? In a premium finance strategy, it comes from a bank. So in essence, you're borrowing money from a bank at a low interest rate. That money comes into the life insurance based product, and you grow that leverage dollar amount at a higher interest rate. Well, if I borrowed this money at a low interest rate and it's making an interest rate higher than that, there's a spread, right? Meaning once I pay back the bank the money that I owed them for leveraging or borrowing that money, I get to keep the difference, which allows your cash value to grow exponentially. Well, why haven't you heard about that? Well, if you were to Google premium financing, you would find that it requires a net worth of somewhere around $5 million. I don't know about you, but I don't have $5 million. And in addition, it requires excellent credit. And bottom line is, it's a product that has been around for a very long time. It's just that it's been for those who I would maybe consider somewhat elite. And around 2014, the gentleman that actually came up with maximum premium indexing, a gentleman by the name of Curtis Ray, was offered a premium finance strategy from a life insurance provider. Well, in seeing the power of premium financing, he asked a very simple question of the life insurance provider: why don't you have one? And when he learned that the criteria was you had to meet these extreme qualifications in order to just simply have a product like this, being the mathematician that he was or is, they put their heads together and determined, you know what, you actually don't need the bank support in order to grow your policy like this. Actually, you can leverage your own cash value inside of this product. And yeah, you would be leveraging that money from the life insurance company. But the truth is, you don't need all of this other criteria to make this process work. Hence, MPI, maximum premium indexing, in the form of premium financing. Now, that's high level, and I've kind of glossed over a lot of things, but the moral of the story is it started in 2014, and he started shopping this around to other life insurance companies between that point and 2017. And around 2017, there was a life insurance company that raised their hand and said, I see the vision. And once they saw the vision, it's game on from there. So this has been in place or been in action around that 2017, 2018 timeframe. And as you peel back the layers of MPI, which I've done in many lives before, and I know I'll do in others, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time peeling back those layers tonight. But as you peel back the layers, you understand this is really a simple process. And the only reason it sounds too good to be true is because in order for a life insurance company to provide a product like this, they actually have to be willing to take less money. So you're asking a lot of a capitalist organization. You're asking a life insurance company to say, hey, I'm willing to take less money in the short term so that you can start building income now, knowing that they're going to get theirs in the end, right? So it's a fairly, I'll call it fresh thought. It's a fairly, I'll call it fresh act on a process that's been around since 1997. So it's not new. It just happens to maybe be new to you or new to some. And so from a seem shady perspective, again, the structure, the core, this concept is not new. It's just that it requires some, I'll call it some adjustments from a life insurance company to be able to make this happen. And you can't get a MPI strategy, a premium finance strategy in the form of MPI from just anyone. It has to be someone who is trained in this concept. So it's not just an IUL. Even though the IUL is the foundation of what MPI is, it is a bit more complicated than that. And structure matters. So who you get this from matters as well. And there might be 90 to 100 people in this country that can offer a secure compound interest account like this. So I think that's more the issue is it feels fresh, it feels new, when the truth is the concept is not. It just so happens that we didn't know about it. So, man, a lot of words. But hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, well, I think it addresses that concern for sure. And people are going to have this concern, but they had this same concern about Roth accounts too.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
1997 came and they were like, what the heck is this thing? They had the same
Sounds
concern.
shady.
They had the same concern about the 401k when it came out and
Right.
the
I don't want to give
IRA
up
when
my
it came
pension.
out.
What I look like getting a 401k? I got a pension that's going to pay me forever. I don't need a 401k. And now look at us. All of us got 401ks, and there are very, very, very few pensions left. And just so we're clear, Firewolf, this will replace traditional retirement planning. You heard it here first. And here's why. This product is not tied to the stock market. There's a stock market play, but it's not tied to the losses within the stock market. Imagine your 401k having a 0% floor. Imagine a 401k that when the market does great, you do great in your 401k. But when the market crashes, you just hold where you are. And then when the market takes off again, you take off from where you left. Like that is the crux, the foundation of what a product like this looks like. And
Right.
that is the reason why it's so powerful. It's the ability to reduce risk, and it take your investment 401k strategy into a wealth building strategy like a secure compound interest account. I feel like I'm on one today. Am I yelling?
No, I don't think you're yelling. But I will say that sometimes you can tell when you are really like in the trenches with people because you're either laughing, it's quiet because these are the emotional moments, or you are passionate and it sounds like you're just yelling at people all
Yeah,
day.
and that's
And
what.
we all
Am I
laugh.
yelling? I'm not
No.
yelling because I know people watch from home, and I'm telling you, if somebody yelling at me and I'm watching from home, I'm changing the channel. You
No,
know what
you're
I mean?
not.
So
They're not
whatever.
changing. Dude, we're not changing the channel, guys. We're sticking around because we got lots of Q&A coming up.
Okay,
And for those, oh, go
go
ahead.
on. No. You go
No,
ahead. I
no,
get to
you go.
drink. Go ahead.
Okay. If for those who are asking, how do you book a call with Donnell? It's completely free. Part of the reason why we're out here is to stop the gatekeeping. There
Yeah.
are strategies that just are not talked about. There are ways to wealth, pathways to wealth. And I'm going to use that word again, wealth care, right? Learning where your leverage is and how to use it is the ultimate wealth care. I think that's how you fit a custom strategy because it's not all one size fits all. So
Right.
here is where
Right.
you would do that. And you can go here to get free resources, or you can go here to book your call. So I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Let me add to that. Here's what I would hope that call would look like. I would hope that call is less about what is MPI, or I would hope that call would be less about, hey, how do I do velocity banking again? I would hope that call is really more about how to take action. Maybe there's some clarity required on how to take a step. Like I am with that, but I think what you have done an amazing job of. There are enough resources out there that if for instance, Firewolf, if you wanted to understand the core, the crux of how MPI works and what those details are, there is a video series on that selfdirected.info site that you can step through and get all of that information. Now, I'm happy to share it with you. I'm happy to do lives about it as well. But my point is that information exists, and so any of those details, because we're very transparent about what it is we do. There's nothing to hide here. You want to know about fees? It's in there. You want to know about how you get money out of it? It's in there. How does MPI compare to a Roth IRA? It's in there. How does MPI compare to a whole life policy or an IUL? It's absolutely in there. So those details are there. And then when we meet, it should be about how do I take action? Like I've done my homework, I've done my math. There's some clarity I might need on these pieces of the process, but once I provide that clarity around those pieces, it's all about taking action. So
Yeah, so you don't have to wait for our live streams to get educated on this. You don't have to wait for us. Again, this is about reducing the gatekeeping. So to your point, there's probably 30 different like frequently asked questions, comparison, those types of things, in addition to, what is it, 20 videos that break down
yeah,
the
easily.
different components of what MPI is, and their snack size portions, so that
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
answering the question effectively and quickly, so that you're not having to sit through, some long webinar or whatnot. But there is a webinar too, if you just wanted to kind of get it all in one swoop.
Yep. And there's a second half of that question that I didn't answer yet. And it's I think it was like, how does the guy who created MPI make
Oh,
his
this,
money or whatever the case may be or something like
well,
that.
he said the seller, so I'm
Okay.
assuming
So
he's
me,
talking about you.
yeah. So that's easy too. Here's the thing. This MPI is a life insurance based product, and there's never a dollar exchange between you and I. I don't make a dime off you. But I'm a retirement planner, and my job is to provide that structure. So that life insurance based product that you provide, the cost of that life insurance based product is your monthly premium, or quarterly, annually, or lump sum, however you decide to break that out. I have a profit sharing relationship with the life insurance company. So what happens is there are fees associated with your account. Like this isn't free. and I am paid through that profit sharing relationship. So as you put in your monthly premium, there is a portion of that is going to pay me for my time. There's a portion of that that's going to pay the underwriters for doing your health exam. There's a portion of that that's going to pay me for providing the structure around you getting that account. And then the life insurance company, what they're going to do is pay me whatever that percentage is of, whatever it costs me to do those things. And then your premiums end up paying the life insurance company back. And when you get your illustration, we break down specifically what those fees look like. There's 3 buckets of fees in all life insurance products. I don't care where you get it from or what the product is. All of them have the same fee structure. It's a premium charge, meaning every time you put in a premium, there's a cost. There's an expense charge. That's the cost of that structure. And then there's the cost of insurance, meaning as you get older, it costs more to insure you. Now, those fees are different depending on the type of product you have. But the moral of the story is all life insurance based products have those 3 pieces. And if it's a properly designed product, it's designed with the least amount of fees within that structure. And the way MPI works is the only way you can build income is by reducing the fees. So the reason why the State Farms and the Prudentials and the life insurance companies like those don't do products like these is because they have to make less money to do so. The only way you can build income is by reducing risk and reducing fees. And that's what this product is designed to do. So hopefully that answers that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
So I think
you
I
ready?
said I was going to make him 45, right?
Oh,
45, $10,000 a year.
yeah,
Yes.
we got lots of questions, so let's
Okay. So but I
let's
want to
get
make sure
to
I took
it.
care of Firewolf.
All right. Let
And
me
I'm going to
get to
run
the
this out till
calculator.
66 just because it's age, because it allows 3 compound cycles. It's 21 years. And you said $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year is 800. Come on, Donnell. 66.
And he said his goal is 15,000 in income.
Perfect. 15,000 a month?
I think
15,000 a
in
year?
I
15,000.
I don't know. He didn't specify.
Okay. But let's see what $833 a month, which is $10,000 a year, equates to. It equates to right around $66,000 tax free for the rest of your life. So that's right around $5,000 a month. So if the goal is 15,000, I don't know what that means or not, but what this does, it allows you to see where the gap is. If $10,000 annually is $66,000 a year, and it's buying you about $500,000 in cash value, not buying you, it's creating about $500,000 in cash value, meaning you've put in 209,000. You're making on average 7% on your money. Starting in year 3, and this is the piece that makes this product different from all of your other cash value life insurance products. Starting in year 3, you're leveraging from year 3 till age 66 about 1.1 million from the life insurance company. Leverage is just a fancy word for saying borrow. This is not a dollar amount that you owe. So you're making on average 7% on your money, and there's a spread, an arbitrage that you're making off this dollar amount, and it's around 3%. Notice, 3% on this dollar amount compared to 7% on your money, it almost doesn't even matter the fact that you're contributing anything, because this 3% right here is truly what's driving this dollar amount here. And whether we're talking about a whole life, variable life, universal life, index universal life, doesn't matter. None of them have this feature. So how could you possibly go from here to here in any of those other products? And now let's say the same dollar amount, you decided to take that 10,000 and put it in an IRA or 401k, same dollar amount. Well, we're talking about almost $600,000 inside of an IRA or 401k. Notice you have more money here than here. Again, more money in your IRA or 401k than a product like this. But Firewolf, if you've spent any time with me, you know I could care less about net worth. It's about income. What does that income look like in a vehicle like this? 23,000. And if it's a 401k, it's 23,000 taxed compared to 66,000 tax free. But if this was a Roth IRA, okay, $23,000 tax free compared to $66,000 tax free, which is better. What are the questions,
Yeah.
sweetheart?
Okay. And I really appreciate that example. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I think
Appreciate
there's,
it. That's a weird statement.
yeah, well, no,
Appreciate me.
I appreciate how you shared this information. I do. I learn a lot every time, and I've heard this stuff for years now, and I just always learn something new. So I like the way that you explain this to people. And I think it makes people feel safe in learning this stuff too, because you don't have to be an expert to retire. You don't have to be an expert to be financially free. There are so many people who are completely insanely rich, and they are no smarter than somebody who is poor, and struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. It just happens to be they had leverage at some point and they knew what to do with it, or somebody else around them knew what to do with it. So it may not even have been them. But whatever those fortunate situations are, we can change that now because we have access to this information now. So now we can change it, and now we're going to. Okay, moving on. Okay, can you get one on your stepchildren? I love this question.
Yes. Short answer. Insurable interest is really about just that. Meaning, is there insurable interest within your household? And so, if you are married and these are your absolutely. I am very. What is running in the back of my head is, let's say this is husband and wife, and the husband has stepchildren, meaning it's the wife's biological, and it's the husband's stepchildren.
Yeah, they didn't have kids together.
Right. My
Right.
question is, how does if the and these are children under the age of 18? What's running in the back of my head is, where does the biological father play in this scenario? My gut says, because of the insurable interest is the fact that the stepfather, these children are dependent upon him. And so therefore he has that insurable interest. But what I'm wondering about is, can the father swoop in and do policies on his biological kids? Like, there's so much here. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. So the short answer to this question is, can you get a policy on your stepchildren? I'm going to say yes. But there's some questions that I have that I don't know that I have the answer to at this moment.
And there's some unique situations that you've addressed too.
Yeah.
I mean, some really different family setups that you have done through this process. So you know that regardless of it, it costs nothing to apply and to go through the process and see what questions they will ask. And then they'll let you know, hey, these are the things that we would need in order to do this, or hey, we can't do this. So
Yeah, I'm a fan of helping you get what you want. And so we will structure this thing so that you can achieve your goal. And as we move down this path, the underwriters may ask questions of both of us that challenge our opportunity to be able to hit that goal, but we won't know it until we head down that path.
April had a few questions. She was saying, how do I find someone trustworthy to handle this responsibility? I'm stuck. And she also was talking about a laser fund.
Yeah.
So that
Doug
was something
Andrews,
else
know
that
it
she
well.
was. And then she was saying also that Robert Kiyosaki says that people with financial goals should hire an accountant. What do you think?
I don't disagree. I think I like the trustworthy part. Whether they're an accountant or not, I want someone who has my back. So I'm all for, I tend to, and you know this very, very well, I tend to work with people that I develop a relationship with. It's really less about the product or the company. If you and I are here, we're on this, we're aligned in what the goal is, I rock with you. So I am totally with that whole trustworthy part. The other part is, I'll call it structure. And that's where the getting self-directed comes into play. Yeah, you might have these vehicles that you want to invest in or grow wealth or whatever the case may be, but if they're not structured properly, it could be a very, very bad situation. So it's really understanding what that structure is, and how do you vet people? Well, I'm all for interviewing. I'm all for sitting down and having a conversation, and it is and being prepared with what those questions are to be able to tell a lot of the
That
like
part.
yeah, I do. I do these REI groups where I sit in front of 20 to 200 people and I educate them on how to use their previous employers' plans to be able to invest in what they want. And one of the slides I share is here's some questions to go ask your financial advisor. Because whether they're an accountant, CBA, tax attorney, CPA, tax attorney, or a financial advisor, just because they say they're a fiduciary doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart. Because what you tend to learn as it relates to financial advisors is even though they are licensed fiduciaries, they are beholden to the broker dealer that they work for. What does that mean? Yes, they have to take care of you and have your best interest, but the truth is they cannot go against their broker dealer. So maybe you might need to take your money elsewhere, but your financial advisor can't tell you that because that's called selling away. If you Google it, selling away is an offense that can get a financial advisor's license revoked. So they honestly can, even if they know there is a better opportunity for you, they cannot share what that opportunity would be. They can't tell you where to go because they would lose their license. So is that a fiduciary? Whereas when you're dealing with someone who is not captured, whether I can help you or not isn't the point. The point is, what's your goal? And if what I offer fits inside that goal, I'll share it with you. But there may be a situation where, you know what, it's probably best that you go across the street because they might actually have some vehicles that can better fit your situation. That's what you're dealing with here. And I think that's how you, if you don't have anyone that can honestly share that information with you, how can it become a trustworthy situation? So it's hit or
Well,
miss.
who's going to tell you that? Who's going to tell you, oh, I'm sorry, I can't? Now, this is, if you think about it, if you had an Avon lady, right? Would she be giving you the brochure to Mary Kay? She's not. She's not
Right.
going to tell you, actually, you should go buy this Mary Kay product for your particular issue that you're looking to solve, makeup product, whatever it is, and enter any MLM. It's the same exact thing.
I
It's
agree.
like doTERRA oils. They're not going to tell you to go to Sprouts or the Whole Food store and get something. They're going to tell you, no, you got to get the one in my pamphlet, right? You got to get the one here that I sell because they're the best. And of course, they're the best because who benefits? And that's the question. You should
That's
really
it.
rename that slide on your presentation for
Who
self-directed
benefits?
accounts. No, you should name it How to Piss Off a Financial Advisor in Less Than 5 Minutes, because the calls that we get and the emails that we get about, I asked my financial advisor exactly the questions that you had me ask, and now I'm shook. Like I trusted this person for all this time and I had no idea. And watching them try to answer these questions was enough to make me go, how have I been trusting you with my money if you can't even answer this question honestly?
Right.
And
And
the
let's call them out.
stumbling and the they said exactly what you said they were going to say, and now I'm sitting here going, I never even knew to ask this question before.
And let's call them out. What can Edward Jones offer you? Edward Jones can offer you exactly what they sell.
Yeah.
What can Fidelity offer you? Fidelity can offer you exactly what they sell.
Well, same thing for Costco though, right?
Right, exactly. So Edward Jones cannot offer you anything other than the mutual fund stocks and bonds that they have available. They cannot offer you anything that they don't already have because it's considered selling away. They would lose their license if they did so. So you can only so that's where it's I love just peeling back the layers, knowing what the right questions are to ask, and then you're able to make more of an educated decision. Because I'm not saying don't work with Edward Jones. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying know what you're walking into. Know that you can't get, you can't go invest your 401k into land if your 401k is stuck at Edward Jones. That's just a fact.
Well,
But you can self-direct your 401k, invest it in land, and invest at your self-directed 401k at Edward Jones in those mutual fund stocks and bonds. You can do both, but you have to understand what that structure looks like to be able to do so.
when the boys were little, we went to go stay at the Dell Hotel in Coronado Island, and it was such a magical trip for us. That was such a vacation that really was a mind shift for us. Like we belong in these spaces, right? That they were little and we were touring around and we were staying in this ocean view suite, and I think it was like our anniversary or something too, and it was just amazing. And as we're down there, we're asking other people like, well, what do you do? You're here. It seems like you're here with a big group. What do you do? And a lot of them were financial advisors that had been sent from their company to this lavish with their families. There were all the villas were rented out, which are like these, separate apartment type things right on the beach. And they were living their best life. And I thought to myself, like, wow, to work for a company that would do this. Obviously, it's for like high performing advisors, right? They would send them on these fancy, very expensive trips. But I remember thinking back once I started to learn about financial advisors. I remember thinking back to those moments when we were sitting there on whether it was on the patio or at at a restaurant, we're on the beach, whoever we were talking to, wherever it was. The amount of enthusiasm and the pride that they had to be there and to qualify for this trip, right? How much money they brought in for the company or what it is that they did. They never once said, this is how many lives I've changed. This is how many people's futures I have secured financially, and that this is my reward. This is my break because I've been working really hard for people. That's not what they said. They didn't say, this is how many people I was able to retire early.
Doesn't exist.
What they should have said was, this is how many people I robbed. This is, if they're taking 2/3 in fees, it seems 2% seems like a small amount until you see, go watch the retirement gamble and it'll all make sense. 2/3 of what's in the account is what is siphoned off in fees from mutual fund managers, financial advisors, and the whole stream of people who are tied to these accounts, right? What they didn't say was, you know what? The people, every account that I touched this year to earn this trip, they could have retired 19 years earlier, but I got this trip instead.
Wow.
Tell me that's not the truth. Donnell, that's
I
not a
can't.
hard walk.
I
That's the
can't.
truth.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that I love the way you pulled that together. Like, damn.
If they would
You're
have
right.
sat there and told
You're right.
in our face and said, this probably 100 people per person that was on the beach could have retired 19 years earlier or could have been with their family at this resort, their family on this beach, their family on this vacation, but they're working hard because they have to work 19 years longer now that I got involved.
Right.
You got to be kidding me. And this is legal. And this is why it is no longer okay. So, April, to your point, how do I find someone trustworthy? First, get educated so that you know how to vet them
That's
and
right.
make sure that they're trustworthy. Know where it is you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And I promise, if somebody is benefiting on the road that you need to take to get there, then you have no idea how much longer they have made that road just so that they could ride along for free.
And the truth is, they all just sell products. That's all.
Yeah,
And
it's
understanding,
terrible.
well, because I think in some way, shape, or form, I do as well, right? Self-directed 401k is just a product. Now, it's a product that allows you more control to be able to do whatever you want to do, blah, 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 blah. But the moral of the story is it's a product. And once you realize none of these people are smarter than you,
Yeah, right.
they just sell products. That's all. And so it's okay to go to Vanguard and assess their products. But it's also okay to go, you know what? I'm going to come over here and have a little bit more control and get my money out of this casino because the products you offer don't necessarily do it for me. Or I'm going to take a portion of this money that I have control over and not have my entire portfolio tied up in this casino. So I think it's you being in a position to get self-directed, being able to take more control and have more, I'll call it leverage in your case, to be able to take action, make decisions, and have your money working for you. Because again, I say this all the time. At my age, I do not have time for recovery. I don't have time for the markets on sale. I don't have time for that. And my guess is majority of the people that are on this live don't have that same time either.
Who cares if they did? That's the point though, is that nobody has time to hand somebody
Right.
else.
Two
That's
thirds of
really
their retirement. I agree with you.
that's
I agree
really
with
the
you.
thing is
I
that
agree with you.
that somebody has time to just waste just to give to somebody else. No, none of us do. And I'll say it again. The
Jelly
what I
bean.
find wild is that you do not have to be degreed. You
Oh,
do
oh
not
yeah.
have to have a degree to be a financial advisor, but you have to have a degree to qualify. Because you could go to a financial advisor, anybody, but you have to qualify to be able to work with one. In order to qualify with that level of income and a sizable portfolio, you probably have to have a degree. There's 9.5 out of 10 people who work with a financial advisor have a degree, have a career, have worked for this. They have gone into debt to be able to produce this income.
One of
This
my favorite.
financial advisor has not, and they are able to siphon off of your degree.
One of my favorite stories is I've got a client. I think he's 20. He's probably 22 now, and he was shopping around for a financial advisor, and because he didn't have a large enough net worth, no one would work with him.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely correct. And 9 times out of 10, the financial advisor he was talking to was not a true fiduciary, was not a degreed financial advisor. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. But they had the ability to dictate who they will and won't work with. So you're right.
And how many times do people call you and they're like, oh, show me how $500 a month would look inside of an account? For a lot of people, that is exactly what they're looking for. But probably 6 out of 10 people that you talk to, they're like, oh, my bad, just kidding. Put in 1,500, put in 2,000. Like, I want to see what I could do inside of this. I was just being modest because I wasn't going to show you my hand because I don't trust people like this.
Right.
And this is why they don't trust.
Right.
But when they realize, like, okay, you know what? Now I know how this thing works. Now I feel like I'm making an educated decision, totally different than
Absolutely.
just depending on someone else to make decisions for you. Okay, you ready? We got to move on. Sorry, guys. Thank you
Words,
for
words, words,
allowing
words,
me
words.
to rant. Yeah. All right. Kenzo says, I'm 53. I want to put in $2,000 a month in an MPI for 14 years. I want to retire at 67. What does that look like, Donnell?
Is it 67?
Yep.
1,500. Was it 1,500?
Yep.
All right.
I was 2,000 a month. Sorry.
2,000. Sorry.
Yep.
2,000. So 53 years old till age 67. Where is my pen? There it is. Till age 67, we're talking about $61,000 tax free for the rest of your life. So over in that $2,000 a month is buying a certain amount of life insurance. It's buying about $432,000 in life insurance. What that means is on day one, God forbid something happened to you at 54. Your beneficiaries would receive somewhere around $432,000 in death benefit. But as you contribute that $2,000 a month, and as that cash value starts to grow, what happens is you start to exceed the amount of life insurance you've been approved for. So therefore, you have to get approved for more life insurance. So as the life insurance increases, as the cash value increases, that death benefit becomes two numbers. It becomes all of that cash value plus the life insurance of about 1.8 million. And that translates to around $61,000 tax free for the rest of your life. And again, if you were to do this exact same process inside of a Roth IRA or 401k, I love harping on the fact that you would have more money, because that's what your financial advisor is going to harp on. He's going to go, you don't want to put your money over here. Look, you only have 540,000. You've got 698. Matter of fact, I don't even know what that interest rate is. Let me see. Oh, 9%. Watch this. What the elusive 10% return? Let's put it at 10%. You actually have 761,000 inside of a vehicle like this. Like, is that $200,000 more, $220,000 more than an MPI plan? But look at the difference in income. Again, it just does not compare. And let's talk about this income. What is this? 540,000 is making somewhere on average 7 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3%. So somewhere around, let's call it 13, 14%. Well, if you look at the correlation between this number and this number, this is approximately 11%. So if you're making 13% on this number, you're taking a distribution of 11%. Notice you're just living off the interest. So you never touch this 540, which means you never run out of money. Whereas this dollar amount is based off the 4% rule. you're withdrawing $30,000 from this number. So you need that 10% to make up for what you've taken. And so therefore they've established that the 4% is necessary so that you don't run out of money. So even though you have $200,000 more, you have 50% less in income, which is better. Next one.
Okay. Diva says, how does it look after we begin to put the dedicated amount in monthly? Do we have to move it around, or will the insurance company do it sort of like the 401k?
So your job, you have one job in this process. Your job is to apply your monthly premium. That could be monthly, it could be quarterly, it could be semi-annually, it could be annually, whatever you decide. But that's your only job. The structure is what we control. And I can't make some adjustment in your account without your approval. So we meet annually around your anniversary date. Why? Starting in year 3, when the relock feature kicks in, the relock is the leverage. Starting in year 3, when that leverage gets added, I can't just arbitrarily put leverage inside of your account. What's going to happen is we meet and I'm going to show you, hey, here's how your account has been doing. We had a down market last year, so you didn't actually make money in your account, but notice your account still grew. And now you have access to everything from year 1, which looks like 25,000, whatever that number is. Would you like to put all 25,000 into your account and use that leverage to grow it faster? Well, what that means is your cash value may increase, or that means we may have to apply for and get approved for more life insurance. But the moral of the story is, we and those of us who create these accounts handle that structure for you. So your only job is just to put in your monthly amount, and then I follow up with you to understand what those next steps are. What else?
So let's see here. Okay, here it is. They were asking, where are those resources you're talking about? And so here they are. I just had to find it, guys. And by the way, update, I'm getting a better setup so I can see better. Excited about that. We've already started making those changes. So I will be squinting less at the screen soon. I know. It's horrible. Okay. Let's see here. Is there a way to know the banks that understands this HELOC first or second? They keep telling me about refinancing. That is not what I want.
Oh, I'm sorry, not bro. That's female. But I get it, man. And here's the thing: banks, life insurance companies, financial advisors, they're all the same. They can only offer you the products that they have to sell. So when you walk into a bank, that banker has these list of things that he's supposed to push on you. Whether he offers anything outside of that, he has no idea in most cases. But the truth is, all, or if not majority of banks offer some type of home equity line of credit unless they stopped it for whatever the reason might be. But I run across this all the time. For instance, Texas is just a different state. Like, I don't care how you look at it, Texas is just different. I've had several clients trying to get HELOCs in Texas, and turns out every bank you walk into in Texas, they say, hey, we don't offer. Well, I know for a fact, PNC, located in Texas, offers a first position HELOC. But when you walk into a branch in PNC in Texas, they will swear up and down they do not. Until you reach out to, I believe it's either Connecticut or Delaware, somewhere in the East Coast, somewhere up there, there is a person in that branch who handles all of the first position HELOCs. And they will handle the first position HELOC and educate those in the branches in Texas on how to go about it. So I'm not shocked. It's the weirdest thing. It's weird. I get it, but it's a fact. It's a fact. But I go back to, your bankers are only allowed to offer you what they have. And the key is for you to do your homework, do your due diligence, do your Google searches, and pit these banks against each other, because it's there. It's there. Yeah, but it is sad.
Yeah, it is sad. Okay.
Sad.
I did my medical exam this morning.
Hey.
Woo!
Josephine is another one of those. So, and again, not to put her all out here and all that kind of stuff. My point is, she tried to tell me her age, and I refuse to believe that that's what her age was, is all I'm getting at. So there are some people out here that are just like, I pray that when I get there, I'm doing the exact same thing. So that's
too.
awesome, Josephine.
I mean, you look good though. You look good.
We look good.
Yeah, we do. Well, I think we're young at heart. I think that's part of what keeps us
I got an
youthful.
18-year-old. I guarantee you, if we go outside right now, we race to the end of the block, I'm beating him. Or
You
I'm
say
tripping
that.
him. One of the two. Either way, I'm going to beat him.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Okay. Jose says, my husband, no, it's Josie, I think.
Maybe it's us, they, we, them. It's
I don't
okay.
know. Gosh, tell us in the comments because now I need to know. What do you guys think? We vote on it? Are you Team Jose
No,
or Team
no.
Josie?
It doesn't matter. My husband is retired and still has to work. He will be 59 and a half next month. Congratulations. And he has 109,000 in his TSP. And we are, yes, this happens a lot. And this is the part that pisses me off. Wouldn't it have been nice for whoever handles that TSP to go, you know what, somewhere around 52? Hey, oh, no, on your 50th birthday, because you've probably been with the companies, well, it's military. So you've been with the military since forever. Somewhere around 50, they go, hey, I know you're looking to retire in 9 years. Here's what you're on track for. Not, I will be 59 and a half in a few weeks or a month or whatever the case may be, and just learning. No, leave that up for me because I didn't finish it. You're turning 59 and a half in whatever that time frame is and just now learning. So I feel you on the we are in shock. And then on top of that, you're going to be taxed on everything you have. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? So that's 100% fair. So options, what are those options? Well, once you become 59 and a half, you have access to at minimum your bases, if not all of it. If your time horizon is still somewhere between 10, 15, 20 years, you can take that TSP, you can self-direct it, but that means actively self-directing that dollar amount to put it where it needs to go. You also have the option of, there's some pretty awesome annuities out there. There's some growth annuities that you can put this in to grow that account. And it's similar to an MPI plan given the 0% floor, but doesn't have the leverage. My point is the risk of you losing the money that's in it is less. And when you transfer that dollar amount into an annuity, it's a penalty-free, tax-free transfer, which ultimately means you're not losing, you're not having to pay any taxes or losing any of the growth that you have, so you can transfer it. The key here is, what is your time horizon? If you've got 10, 15 years, we can make this happen. But if you're saying, I want to start taking a distribution at 59 and a half, this is what you're running into. You're going to run into that 20% tax hit. And there's really no way around it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they've finished the comment that they have
Some debt that they want to
39,000.
address.
Yeah.
So borrowing against your TSP to be able to get yourself out of that debt, that you can do that. I would think you can borrow against your TSP where it is now, but at 59 and a half, you have an ability to self-direct it. You would have more control over being able to borrow against it as well. Now, if you were to move that money into an annuity, it's locked up. It's locked up until you annuitize that dollar amount. And then at that point, you can do whatever you want to do. But if you're looking to be able to leverage it without having to take that tax and penalty hit to do so, that's where self-directing it would come into play. And we can talk a little bit further about that. But like I said, there's videos and stuff that kind of speaks to that as well. Yeah.
Okay. There's Miss 691496
48 years old.
would like to know what $650 would look like.
All right. She didn't
Let's
give
get
me
into
a
it.
time horizon, but I'm going to say I'll just leave it at the one that
Oh,
we had just did. Go ahead.
said 48, 60 to retiring at 67.
Oh, so it's already there. So putting in 48, I'm sorry, age 48, putting in $650 a month. We're talking about $40,000 tax free inside of a vehicle like this. Again, notice the difference. You take that same 650 and dump it into that Roth IRA. You're building tax free income inside that Roth IRA. You have significantly more money, but look at the difference in income. It's like a
Yeah.
no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Golly. Okay. April has an interest rate question.
Yes.
She says, hold on, let me magnify it. Okay. Donnell, I have an interest rate question. Said that 3 times. Say it again. Just kidding.
Daniel, I have an interesting question.
Suppose I have money in 2 accounts, each of them
5%.
making 5%. Funds are moving between the accounts for additional leverage. Okay, hold on. Continued. Wait, it's part 2.
I like this.
Oh,
Anticipation.
yeah, this is getting good. Thanks, April. Okay, Also suppose that I'm getting regular deposits from dividend stocks, reinvesting everything into dividend stocks.
Pretty awesome.
Doing this, how much interest am I potentially making? Let's get into it.
Without me pulling out the calculator, I don't know. But it sounds like a pretty, I'll call it, because we're talking about 5% compounding. And because you're adding the dividends back in, it's actually even more. So I would say that's a pretty significant growth. What my question would be is, what's the tax implications when you do get ready to take a distribution? Or is this in a vehicle that's building or growing tax free? Is there, or is it at normal income tax? Is there a capital gains impact? So that would be my question there, because what I would be focused on is, depending on how much is in it, I would want to convert this dollar amount into Roth, meaning using some of that dividend growth to pay for the tax hit to convert these dollars over to Roth. So now you can start building tax-free income inside this vehicle. So I know that's a lot there, but here's what I would say. You would kind of want to speak to your financial advisor, whoever you're working with, because I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot give you financial advice. This basically what I can do is share with you what my opinion would be. But my goal would be to convert that to Roth as quickly as possible, so that you're growing tax-free dividend growth. Like
And
I don't hate on ETFs. Like I think they're awesome.
my goal for you, April, would be to ask them, the larger your account goes, like, what are the fees overall that how they benefit from your account? Because
Because you're
it's
about to do it.
easy to
Go ahead.
do the surface math and say, okay, if you're putting the dividends and you're reinvesting them back into the account, it almost is kind of seeming like the relock feature,
It's
right?
blinding,
Yeah.
right? Because it sounds good.
Hold on. But then, of course, somebody's going to tell you to do this, especially when you're thinking this account's going to grow even faster, and they're thinking, and I'm going to make more money off of this account.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it feels like a win-win for them and for you. But when you realize, no different than Josie was talking about, or Jose, whichever one it is, just throwing it out there, I don't know. Point is, whatever the time comes that then you go, well, what's the impact to me? That part's never talked about right now. So that's where have them walk you through it, April. How do you benefit? So first I need to know that. Then what happens when I do start to finally take money out of this
Take a
account?
distribution.
Yeah, take
And here's the
distribution.
piece. Don't fall for it. Using your words, don't fall for the surface response, because the initial response would be, "Oh, it's only a 1% fee. Oh, it's only a 2% fee.
Yeah,
You're
show
making
me.
5% compounding.
Yeah.
So my little 1% fee is very small." But pay attention what's not being said. It's a 1% compounding fee that it continues to get larger as your account gets larger. And whether you make money or not, they also take a 12B1 fee. And that 12B1 fee says, even if you lose money, I make money. So what ends up happening is that 1% compounding fee on top of the 12B1 ends up eating up the 2/3 growth over time. So it's really massive, even though it sounds small. So again, it's so you're spot on. It's asking the right questions and not falling for that surface. And then some people have, I can't remember some of the sites where you're able to trade on your own, and so those fees are even smaller, but they compound the same. So be very, very conscious of that. So I think you bring up a great point. What else?
Well, I just want to say, if you go to, I just need to create like
Tabs.
selfdirected.info/live. I'm just going to put this up there. And where did it go? Okay, here it is. Okay, go here to this page right here. If you do this, then you would also have access to book a call with Donnell. April, I saw that you said you hadn't been able to book a call, and I don't know why. So if there's something that we need to fix, let us know. Otherwise, you can also text us too. Any questions. Here's why I want you to go here, though. The conversation that we're having tonight about financial advisors. It's not to bag on financial advisors.
Absolutely not.
Now, one thing you have to understand is that in all of the industries that we have available to us, some of these people made the decision going, this is totally legal, and people opt into this program all the time. Why wouldn't I make this my career? Because now I can change the trajectory of my family's financial future or for generations to come, right? Why wouldn't they opt into this if they know that it's going to be profitable? So it's not their fault that this is legal to do. They're just doing what they want to do. Okay, moving on. Point is, go to this page and you can find the retirement gamble video. It's on YouTube too. Just search it up. It's like, I don't know, 2 hours. It's a whole documentary. It's free from Frontline PBS. They did this documentary. The retirement gamble breaks down all this stuff. They interview JP Morgan. They interview Morgan Stanley. Vanguard. They interview Wells Fargo. Yep. They interview a ton of people. And when you see how they responded, knowing that they were going to be interviewed, knowing that they were going to be interviewed for these topics even, just seeing how they responded and then knowing like the Dirty Money documentary with Wells Fargo and how they were behaving and then to see their answers in this documentary, it's like, golly, how are these people still working there? But they are, and this is totally legal, and they may have gotten a slap on the hand or a fee or paid some penalty, and now they have to go on a trust campaign, right? And they have to build the trust back up with their audience and get more people to come back to the bank. And we're learning we don't have to anymore. We can use the bank the way the banks were using us, and we can take their power away in that way.
And we leverage them. We leverage them the same way they've been leveraging us. We need the banks. Let's be honest. We absolutely need banks. But there's no harm in us leveraging them the way they've been leveraging us. We need life insurance companies. There's no harm in us leveraging life insurance companies the way they've been leveraging us. I have great relationships with financial advisors because they know I offer something that they can't. And so when you get a great advisor who is open and honest about the role that they can and cannot play, it's a beautiful relationship. Because here's the thing about the word diversification. Would you really need diversification if the product that your money was in was adequate? The only reason you need to diversify is because your money is sitting in a risk-based vehicle. And so you spread that risk out so you don't lose everything. But if your money was actually in a vehicle that eliminated or reduced the risk, would it need to be diversified? And the answer is no. How about life insurance-based products? I know people who have 10, 20 whole life policies. Why? Because whole life is actually an inefficient vehicle today. If you had a properly designed secure compound interest account, you would only need one. Having 20 life insurance policies, guess what that does for the life insurance guy that sold it to you?
Man.
Versus having one that's properly structured.
And if you want to see an example of that, we had a horror story call and did a video on that. It took me 3 solid days to edit this video because I was so angry with this story. I had to get up and take breaks. I was that mad at what this lady was saying happened to her. And she just thought that it was like normal. She thought she had done the right thing. Of course she did. And it's not her fault. She's not dumb. She's not she's not less for believing this. It's just that she didn't know any better. And this is legal. It's totally legal. Okay, moving on though, or I'll just continue ranting, of course.
Let me slide in there real quick though.
Okay.
Especially as it relates to life insurance-based products. So I run across this a lot. Hey, I've got this whole life policy, and they almost start defending it before we get started. And here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know. So
Right.
Most of us who have some life insurance-based product that may not be as efficient as a vehicle like this, it isn't because you did anything wrong. 9 times out of 10, you went to some life insurance guy and said, I want a life insurance policy. Guess what they sold you? A life insurance policy. You didn't go to that person and say, I want income. I need a vehicle that's properly structured, that's designed to produce income. You didn't go to them for that. So why would they offer you something? Well, they couldn't probably, but moral of the story is you got what you paid for, so you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know different, now you want to understand how can I convert this product that I had or have into something that's a bit more efficient. So it's not that you did anything wrong. There are no real, to me, there's no wrong answers here. It's really more about education. It's understanding why the vehicle you have doesn't perform the way it needs to. It's understanding why the person that provided it to you didn't offer what they should have offered to you. So it's that education part.
And isn't it fair to say that they don't know either? Like what they
Absolutely.
don't know what they don't know as well.
Absolutely.
And everyone's out here trying to do their job and provide for their families. Let's just
Absolutely.
keep it real. I don't know if the majority of these industries are really waking up in the morning like,
Let's
like
go
we're gonna,
scam some people today.
yeah, let's go scam them. I think it's more like they're trying to make the most money they can for their families, and this is just they're siloed, right? They got the blinders on. They're just going, this is what I have to do in order to check this box for me and my family.
And a
It's
lot of the,
just that we have to start changing the conversation so that even
absolutely.
they get educated
It's
about these
it's
things.
asking the right questions because even your fiduciaries are fiduciaries. It's just that understanding that they may be beholden to their broker dealer, not to you first. That's all.
Yeah.
Next one, sweetheart.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Carr Becker has the golden question. We weren't going to say it, but it really is like the golden question. What kind of trust are you talking about, Donnell?
So I didn't know if I was going to dig into this or not. Let's start here. When we're talking about a trust, the first step is depending on the state that you're in, you have to go access, go create, go work with the trust lawyer in your state to be able to build a trust for your assets. And that can be a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust, whatever you decide. But as it relates to a secure compound interest account, secure compound interest accounts have their own trust. And they are designed specifically for MPI or secure compound interest accounts specifically. So I did pull that up. So if you jump over to the, I guess it would be the calculator side.
Yep. There you go.
So if you were to go to myMPItrust.com, that's where you would actually be able to see what are the trusts that are offered. There's actually 5 different trusts. And let me preface this with, this is not my lane. So if once we created your secure compound interest account and you said, okay, Donnell, I am ready for a trust, then what I would do is connect you with the right team to be able to build that trust for you. And it would be John Scablin's group. And that's where, if you go to mpitrust.com, that's where you would hit. And I focus though on 2 types of trusts. I really think it's more about the dynasty trust. Dynasty, and it's either a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust, one of the two. But dynasty, because think about it. We're talking about millions of dollars in some cases that we're rolling up into a trust that is now distributing income. I would think that you, who established this trust, would want to make sure that 200 years from now, you still have a legacy available to be able to produce for your lineage. So how do you make sure that happens? Well, it's about the dynasty. It's about putting in the right levers in place, the right rules, the right understanding in place, such that that legacy is still there. And there we're talking about can't even get out. Revocable versus irrevocable. Irrevocable meaning those adjustments that you make inside of that trust can't be changed. Now I get it. Time changes, technology changes. So you may want some provision in there so that adjustments can be made. But the key is an irrevocable dynasty trust such that you're able to do what's necessary. And I think high level, that's what that would look like. So what kind of trust? It would be one of these 3. And when you're ready, you would reach out to me. I would connect you with our resources. But it starts first with you having a trust for your assets, and we would merge or marry a dynasty trust to your asset trust. And the whole role that MPI trust would play is As people pass, the death benefit rolls into the trust. As people are born, the trust buys MPI plans starting at 14 days old. And any income distributed is determined by the criteria that you set. Whether you say there has to be a prenup in place, or you need 2 years of college, or you have to be this age, whatever that criteria is, you get to set it, you get to determine it. And the other piece around revocable versus irrevocable, and this is not necessarily related to MPI, this is just trust in general. The key pieces here is this: for a revocable trust, the disadvantages is the trust revocable trusts are not protected from creditors. To me, this is the most important piece. Whereas as it relates to an irrevocable trust, you have that protection. To me, that's the largest piece here when you're trying to decide whether you want a revocable versus an irrevocable. I'd say the biggest disadvantage for an irrevocable trust is it's next to impossible to change. So before you decide on what that looks like and what that criteria looks like, you want to make sure you sit down with your family, sit down with that lawyer, and kind of talk through what that structure needs to be so that it's sustainable for again, the next 500 years or whatever the time frame might be. So great question.
It's interesting because Diva Miami is saying that an irrevocable trust can only be terminated by the beneficiaries in her state. So I bet these things do vary per state, no
That's
different
the
than the
part.
HELOCs do.
That's the part. So, and I go back to when we're talking MPI, there are specific trusts for MPI policies. I am the one that would help you provide that piece. But it starts with getting getting your asset trust in your state based off the rules within your state. And I keep saying this, Texas is different. Like I have spent far too much time investigating Texas law to learn Texas is different compared to everybody else. Well, Texas and New York, both of those places, they are different. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go move on here. Colleen wants to know at age 62, what would $2,000 a month into MPI look like by age 75?
And remember, 62 implies, at what age, 75? 62 implies great health, right?
Yeah.
62 implies decent cash flow.
Yep.
And 62 implies that you're going to give yourself a decent time horizon. And 75, I would say, is a decent time horizon.
Was it 13 years?
Yep. So what does that look like? We're talking about roughly $40,000 tax-free for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead with the numbers. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're talking about cash value of somewhere around $500,000. Again, I keep making this comparison. Where else would you put that $2,000?
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now.
Go ahead.
I'm going to put it, Colleen, 62 years old. If you had a 30-year-old daughter, go up and put a 30-year-old daughter till age 43, because this is the difference right here. It's not that you're too old. It's that the cost of products, the cost of your time, it's the cost of your time when you're older. That's really what you're paying for. And they just make everything more expensive. So 30 years old to age 43, same amount of money. Watch the difference.
And the piece that you have to also throw in there, sweetheart, is what's the goal?
Okay, yeah.
If the goal is income, then you're correct in what you're stating. But if the goal is I want to make sure I'm leaving something for my family, then it may not look the same. So, so it's about 61,000. So what was it? So I don't even remember what the number. What was the number?
2,000.
37? No, I'm sorry. It was 37,000 for. I have to do it again. I'm sorry.
It was like 39.
62, right?
37, yeah. 62 to 75. Okay, I'll write it down. We'll screenshot it.
No need.
Help us
I'll
out.
remember it
Help us out,
once I
guys.
pay attention. So it's
Okay.
close to 40,000 is what I said. 39.6.
Okay.
So close to $40,000 at age 62, compared to if you do have someone you have insurable interest over, 43, right? About 61. So we're talking about a $21,000 difference just purely based off age. It's the same time, but the difference between a 62-year-old and a 30-year-old is the cost to insure them. And let's also be clear. If you were to take that insurable interest approach, you as the 62-year-old cannot own this policy. What you're saying is, I'm going to fund this policy for my 30-year-old, and it is up to the 30-year-old and you to have that a tight enough relationship to where that income being generated then comes to you. So that's between you and your child, or you and whoever you have that insurable interest over. But you cannot own a policy on a 30-year-old. But if you did this in a trust, and you as the 62-year-old are the owner of the trust, and your 30-year-old is a co-trustee within that trust, you absolutely can do this, and then you all get to decide what that distribution of income looks like. Many ways of going about it.
Okay, side note, because this is another, why does it keep doing that? Stay with me on the screen. Okay, the side note, we have to talk about this topic too, some other live, because this is starting to get long, but it's the multi-generational living. There are so many people that are not prepared for retirement, that are not prepared for this inflation and what's to come too. With Social Security, with the tax difference that we're going to have to pay to be able to make up for these promises that we made to people. And this is why they structured their retirements in the ways that they did, right?
Absolutely.
If you didn't see the one that we went 1983, $40,000 is $120,000 income today. They weren't trying to save up $120,000 a year for retirement. They were making $40,000 a year, thinking that that was a lot. So imagine where you're going to be. Point is, your parents probably are not prepared for this either. And so what happens when that realization comes to pass? They end up looking at you going, well, congrats, you're my retirement. I took care of you for all these years. Now I need you to take care of me because I don't have any other options. You're literally the option. So I'm leveraging. Here's my leverage. You're my leverage. Boop. There it is. Congrats.
There is
And
absolutely and I think you're right. We are going to spend more time talking about this, because if you look at this from a family bank, generational wealth perspective, doesn't it mathematically make more sense for us to pool our money together to be able to achieve the income that we want? And it would look a whole lot better if mom, dad, and the three sons and their wives and the grandkids pool their money into one vehicle to be able to generate the income necessary that benefits everybody. Like it just sounds better. But that's
yeah,
what generational wealth looks like. But we are intentionally not conditioned to do this.
right.
So there's a paradigm shift that needs to happen in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Money in your
Well,
mind.
here's my point. If Colleen, with the example we just showed, right? If this were to be the mindset of, do you want to take care of me when I can't afford to live on my own? Do you want that burden? Because today that burden might be $60,000 for me to live every year with my health care, whatever the case is. That still sounds kind of cheap, you know what I mean? But it's, what if that was it? Could you just add that to be able to take care of your parent? Because what else are they going to do? Or they're going to say, okay, but in 10 years from now, it's probably going to be double that.
Right.
And so that's when I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till then. And then I'm going to drop in and be like, this is, here, I'm here with my bags. So if she's thinking about it now and she's a smart cookie, she'd be going, you know what? You're going to give me X amount of dollars every month to fund this policy, and I'm going to fund this policy under my name. So not only can I leverage it to help put myself in a better situation, but I could also leverage it to help put you in a better situation. And when the time comes, now you have income. And we just leveraged my age to be able to do that and to be able to make, like, what was that, twice the income?
Right.
Yeah,
Easily.
smarter, not harder. This is literally should be under the definition of smarter, not harder, because it's the same amount of time. It's just a different variable, and it's an important one too. So here's So are you ready to go to the next one?
Yep. So I'm sorry. I just did Sherry Nichols because somehow it popped up and I saw it. Sherry
Oh, go ahead.
Nichols.
Okay. But
It's
did you put it on the screen so you could share with us all, Donnell?
let me get there because I lost it. There it
Yeah,
is.
you got to put it on the screen.
Sorry. Did I do it?
Yep.
Because I'm kind of handicapped when it comes to
Yep.
this
Yep.
stuff. So the question was, hey, what would it look like if we were to put away $100 a month $1,000 lump sum. And just so you understand how this calculator works, it's going to split that $1,000 between year one and year two. So I'm assuming you mean $1,000 in year one, but the calculator treats it as $500 in year one, $500 in year two. So what does it look like by the age of 22 for your first grandbaby? They would have a nest egg or a cash value of somewhere around $60,000. So what could they do with that $60,000 at age 22? Whatever they would like. Use a portion of it to pay for college, whatever the case may be. And all they would have to do, whether you maintained it or not, all they would have to do is maintain $100 a month. And over time, that $100 a month continues to build, or I'm sorry, that cash value continues to build. And by 32, we're talking about $15,000 tax-free and a vehicle worth $135,000. And again, continuing down that path, what does it look like by the age of 45? And again, this is $100 a month. By the age of 45, $60,000 tax-free, a cash value of about $550,000. Like pretty significant, pretty significant.
Okay. Next one. What would $2,000 a month starting at age 62 look like? No, we just did that one. Sorry, my bad.
Right.
Okay. 54 to 65, $800 a month. Here it is. Hey, we're back in business.
And you said $800 a month, correct?
Yep.
And $800 a month is significant. I think the difference here is the time. So we're talking 11 years. So that might be 1.5 compound cycles. So it's not that $800 isn't significant. It's the fact that you didn't necessarily give your money a whole lot of time. You would have put in about $105,000 over that period, and you would have available to you about $143,000 in cash value, $16,000 tax free. Again, if you were to do this exact same thing inside of a Roth IRA or 401k, you'd have more, but the income, again, it's just there's no match. And you'd be purchasing a life insurance policy of around $172,000 with a death benefit if you were to pass in those later years of somewhere around $661. So again, it's really, this is more time based than it is anything else, because if you were to just give your money a little bit more time, let's go to 72. Little bit more time, that's $40,000 or $39,000 tax free. So you can see how it compounds as you give your money more time. Next one.
Okay. Here we have, I'm new to this. I'm 40 with 20,000 in the bank and I would like to retire at 65. I only have a car loan and I would have $1,000 to use each month. What can I get started?
At 65, what was the lump sum again? 20,000 in the bank?
20,000 and $1,000 a month.
Perfect. And again, this 20,000, even if you wanted 20,000 one time or in year one, I can build it this way. I just can't do it in the calculator. So $1,000 a month. Oh, that's not $1,000 a month. So we're talking $141,000 tax free for the rest of your life. Compared to a Roth IRA or 401k, it's almost 3 times that. You'd be a millionaire. You'd have about $1.2 million sitting in cash value. So if, let's say you wanted to build your dream home, $141,000 may not be enough. Let's say you needed $250,000, $300,000 to go build your dream home. Instead of borrowing that money from a bank to be able to do so, you have your own bank, liquid cash to be able to do so, leverage it to be able to use for whatever you want, build your dream home, whatever the case may be, and you have a choice. The ideal situation would be you would pay that back, but let's say you didn't. Well, if you didn't, that cost of the money that you leveraged to build your dream home would come out of this. So instead of your beneficiaries getting $3 million, maybe they only got 2.5 because $500,000 of that went to paying back the money that you leveraged inside of your account. Meaning, there are many different things you can get out of a vehicle like this, not just income. You can also leverage it to be able to do other things as well. Next one.
Yeah, well, and I also wanted to say, Hoy, that he was asking, where can I get started? And you can go, dang it, I thought I was going to do it faster this time. You could go
That's
here.
Right. Take your time. You can
go here.
But the key
And
there, when you go there, is there's a fair amount of information just to first get educated. Because if this the gentleman said, "Hey, I'm new here," the first step is to learn. The first step is to get educated. The first
yeah,
step is to understand what this vehicle is and what it is not. The first step is to compare it against what you traditionally know to be true as it relates to retirement vehicles, because this is not it. This is not your mom's 401k. This is not your grandfather's pension. You know what I mean? And so the first step is to get educated to understand what this vehicle is, what your responsibility is in a vehicle like this. Because here's a piece that we haven't discussed a whole lot about. And that is, in order for this growth that we're seeing inside of this product to be able to be maintained, what is your responsibility? Your responsibility isn't just the monthly contribution that you're putting in. As you're putting in this monthly contribution and as the relock feature kicks in, as that leverage continues to build in this vehicle, what happens is you get closer and closer to that MEC limit of this life insurance based product. What does that mean? That means you're approaching the point where if you exceed this MEC limit, if you hit that point, all of the tax benefits inside of this product you lose. So to make sure that doesn't happen, we have to do what's called jump the policy. What that means is we have to qualify you for more life insurance. Well, what does it take for you to get qualified for more life insurance? That means you also have to be healthy. So although you're putting in this $1,000 a month, that's awesome. But as we get closer and closer to that MEC, we have to make sure we're in a position to jump that policy, which means you need to maintain your health. And that's all that means. And I see that as a positive. You get to maintain your health so that you can build tax-free income for the rest of your life. But as long as you do those things, meaning contribute to your account on a consistent basis, maintain your health so we can qualify you for more life insurance as we need to, you're golden. Because at that point, you can produce this $140,000 tax-free for the rest of your life and ride off into the sunset.
and right off into the sunset. How old do you have to be to use that phrase?
Ride off into the sunset?
Yeah, I was looking at phrases
Did you just
at
call me old?
well, I was just saying I was looking at
Don't
phrases
try to clean it
of
up now. You trying to call me old.
decades and who uses these phrases. Like if
That
you
dog don't
probably
hunt.
only likely use cool beans or, psych.
Word.
There was there was a whole
Word.
bunch of sayings that it was like in the 70s slang that really was
Slip me some skin.
yeah, it was there were some cool ones that I was like, wow, I didn't realize that was from the 70s. I was thinking that was like more from the 80s or whatever. Do me
Bird
a
in the hand is worth two
solid.
in the bush.
Yeah, do me a solid. Stop dipping in my Kool-Aid.
Do
You
people still
know
make Kool-Aid?
what?
Do people still make Kool-Aid?
Our kids make Kool-Aid.
Well, we're different.
We are different. But we tell them, no, you can make Kool-Aid. We got drinks at home. We got drinks at home, okay? We got a couple other questions. Well, I wanted to, this is just a shout out.
That's
She
what's up.
just paid her last chunk on her Velocity banking strategy, and she will be debt-free by February of 2024. That takes dedication. You've been here for a while. We've seen her show up since we started live streaming a few months ago, and watching people win is probably my favorite thing.
I agree. And when I hear debt free, I have something that comes behind that. And that
Hey,
is, okay, you win, you're debt free. Now what?
what is your goal?
What is your goal? Now that you're debt free and now that there's this influx of cash flow that is just sitting there, send it out to go get employees. Send it out to help, send that cash flow out so it can go make more money for you. And then you can take that money and then spend that. So stop, because you put yourself in a position such that I don't have the debt, I don't have the expenses that I had once before, and I've got this cash flow. The tempting part is to start using that cash flow again, or using those debt tools, or using those credit cards and putting yourself in the position that you were in. How about you take that cash flow and go have it create employees for you? And then have those employees create their own employees. And as your money starts making its own money, then you spend that. And that's how you keep yourself out of this situation as well.
Mr. Big Trouble says, based on what's happening around us, if one has two
Two
Roth,
Roth
if
IRAs.
if one asking for a friend, this is giving asking for a friend. If one has two Roth IRAs, about 15,000 total. Would you advise to convert them to an MPI plan for the income benefit? Current age 43, retire by 55 with $500 a month to contribute.
So let me answer the first half of that equation, that question. Equation. See, I'm in my math mode. First half of that question. So Roth IRAs, and this is where the education part is so important. Roth IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, government 457 plans, SEP IRAs, you name it, 401a, 402c, like there's a whole bunch of them out there. You can actually move all of that money, Roth and traditional, in between all of those vehicles, penalty free, tax free. Why? Because they're considered what's called qualified accounts, basically because they're owned by the IRS. Versus a product like this, MPI, secure compound interest account, uses a premium finance strategy. The difference between this product and those is it is not a qualified account. It is not backed. It is not controlled by the IRS. There is no one inside of MPI that says you have to wait till a certain age before you can touch your money. This is a life insurance based product backed by the life insurance company. And so therefore, in order, based off your age of 43, in order for you to move that dollar amount into a qualified account like a Roth IRA into a vehicle like MPI, yes, you can take the backdoor dollar amount, meaning your basis, because you've already paid taxes on that dollar amount. You can't touch that. But your qualified money would be taxed and penalized if you tried to put it into a vehicle like this. So I can, in good faith, good conscience, say that that's okay to do. But what you can do, if you're unhappy with that Roth IRA and you're looking for it to grow a little bit more securely, there are, like I keep mentioning it, and I'll do examples on these as well. There are some pretty awesome annuities out there that can do that for you. If your thought was, should I just stop contributing to your Roth IRA and dump that into MPI, meaning keep the dollar amount that's in the Roth IRA there, but just take that dollar amount that I was contributing and putting it into a secure compound interest account? That's a math equation. Meaning, mathematically, does that make sense? I could probably prove that pretty easily. But should you take the tax and penalty hit to remove the money that you have? I can't fully, and again, a good conscience suggest that. But again, this becomes a math discussion. I have clients who just started with the company and have minimal inside of their retirement account. So does it make sense to take that tax and penalty hit to dump it into a vehicle like this? Again, it's a math equation. Sometimes that math makes sense, but maybe you've been with the company and you've got $500,000 in your 401k. Would it make sense to take a 30% hit on your $500,000 to dump it into an MPI plan? That math doesn't math, so that doesn't make sense. So it goes back to several different things. One, it all starts with what is your goal? And then two, does the math make sense or not? I am all for laying it out there, but as far as what you should or shouldn't do, that's a decision that you would have to make. And now, he was 43, and I think you said till age 55.
Sorry. Yep.
And let's be clear, 43 till age 55 inside of a Roth IRA doesn't exist. Meaning you can't get income out of a Roth IRA. So keeping your money there and expecting to be able to take it as a distribution at 55 can't happen. You have to be 59 and a half and not be taxed or penalized. So you will be taxed and penalized at age 55. But inside of a vehicle like this, you absolutely have that option. And now you said $500 a month. Well, you're 43, your time horizon is fairly short, but still, let's take a look at it. I'm sorry, $500 a month. $500 a month till age 55, we're talking about $12,000 tax free, and you would have an asset worth about $113,000. Even if you could touch this money inside of a Roth IRA, look at the math. You have more money inside that Roth IRA, but what does that income look like? So we're at least doubling that income, even though it's a short time horizon, it's still double what you could do inside of a vehicle like this. And as I mentioned, you can't even touch this dollar amount. You couldn't take it if you wanted to.
Well, and a Roth IRA, 401k, any of those traditional retirement vehicles, they also don't include any life insurance. There's no death benefit there. And because they're probably with your job or your employer and they're not inside of a trust, they're probably just going to get tangled up in probate. Those are all things to consider because they're very real outcomes for people.
Absolutely. So you're right. You'll be purchasing somewhere around $150,000 in life insurance. And if something happened to you around that retirement age, we're talking about a death benefit of $713,000. And to your point, the Roth IRA wishes it could.
The little engine that wishes it could. That's funny. Okay. Zanally Cat, I think you say that. I'm butchering people's names up in here. You guys will forgive me, right? I'm trying my best. Once you have a policy, can you put it in an additional lump sum amount later?
Yep. I've got a gentleman who is in the midst of his jump. And every year he has dumped more money into his policy. Like I'm telling you, he has put himself in a position such that he's got almost two times the six-figure income in income that he's able to take right now. Like he is just massively funding his policy because yes, you have the ability to add more money as you go, whether that's lump sum amounts or add additional monthly dollar amounts. The key is you just have to maintain your health. And so, because here's what ultimately is being said here. Let's say you're putting away $500 a month. That $500 a month is buying a certain amount of life insurance. Let's call it $150,000 in life insurance. Well, if you all of a sudden want to change that $500 a month to $1,000 a month, what you're saying is, I want double the life insurance, which would be $300,000. But that's not what you were underwritten for. That's not what the life insurance company approved you for. So it sends up red flags to the life insurance company. Why all of a sudden would they want to stop putting in $500 a month, which is $150,000 in life insurance, and now they all of a sudden want $300,000? Did their health change? Are they trying to hurry up and get more money and get more life insurance because they anticipate that maybe there's a problem with their health and they are concerned and want to make sure they get the largest bang, largest benefit for out of this product as possible? So the life insurance company is going to say, to protect our best interests, we need to make sure this person is still healthy. So it's not I don't view the exam as a negative. I view it as the life insurance company doing a CYA. And from your perspective, you get to get approved for more life insurance, which means you get to grow more money inside of your account. So I see it as a win-win. It's just that the life insurance company has to protect their interests because you are the asset. They are investing in you, and you as the asset, they want to make sure they're going to recoup their money too.
One here. April says that there was somebody named Ken Lucas who asked a question. I can't find it. I've been scrolling.
I did see. I saw 400K, and I did see it.
Okay.
It is. I did see it. So she's right. I want to say
I'm
it was
not
around the
seeing
time
it.
that I did the 1-year-old. So it's somewhere around where I did the 1-year-old. So I did see
Okay.
it. So
All
Ken
right.
Lucas starting with 400K, 57 now.
Yep, and wants to retire by 65 or 6. Yeah, my bad, because I did not see that.
No, I
And
mean
if
things move fast. It's all good.
but I want to say this:
But how
if you
about
had,
how dope is the community though? The community saw it and they went, you know what? We want to make sure we get this brother's question answered. That's pretty dope.
yeah, give it up for April.
Each one
Because
teach one.
yeah, and I love that. Thank you so much, April. But also,
400.
if
Go
you,
ahead.
oh, let
I'm
me say
sorry.
this part real quick. Also, if you asked a question and we didn't answer the question clearly, I'm probably missed it. So now's your chance while we still have just a few more minutes here to throw it in there. And that way we can try to get it as long as we can see it and it comes in before we close out. So I just want to say that. My
So
bad. Do it again. Thanks.
I'm going to show this as no monthly contribution. Just so we're clear, I can't build an MPI plan or a premium finance strategy with zero monthly contribution, but I'm just showing you what it would look like. A $400,000 lump sum implies 200,000 in year one, 200,000 in year two, and I'll show you in the detail. Let's go to. I'm going to do something that I haven't done today. Let's see what this looks like at age 58. So at age 58, that $200,000 lump sum, again, this product splits that dollar amount in half. So even though it looks like he's put in 200,000, it's really, I'm sorry, 400,000, it's really only 200. And of that 200,000 that was input in year one, only 184,000 is working for him. So notice the difference between 200,000 and 184,000, that difference, those are the fees. Okay, but here comes year two. Year two, he would be 59. 59. So 2 years later, you've put in the full 400,000 and you've got 380 working for you. So, okay, as this thing starts to build, because at year three, something special happens. At year three, all of year one is pulled in. So what that means is even though you've only put in 400,000, there's still leverage that's being added at year 3. What does that leverage look like? So by age 60, you would have put in 400,000. I keep pointing to the screen as though you can see that. You would have put in 400,000 in total. You would have leveraged 400,000 from the life insurance, and this is where that fee starts to get reduced. And just so we're clear, the reason you haven't broken even at year 3 has nothing to do with anything other than your age and the cost to insure you. Because if this was a 30-year-old, we would have already broken even. But because 57, again, up in age, costs a little bit more to insure you. That's the only reason we haven't broken even yet. But as this thing starts to build, so let's go back to that age 67. So as this thing starts to build, what does it look like? Well, again, only putting in $400,000 one time, notice, you still only contributed 400,000. But by age 67, you would have leveraged $1.8 million. You would have, your return on this dollar amount is somewhere around on average 3%. You're making on average 7% on your money, which creates a nest egg, a liquid cash value of about 656,000. Notice the difference. Like that's huge difference, but look at the difference in income. And if you just give this dollar amount more time, and again, I'm showing this as though there's zero monthly contributions. I can't structure it this way, but my point to you is this: you give this more time, it's game over. It is a time-based, it's slow, steady, and secure. You give the right dollar amount, the right amount of time, it's game over. Let's get out of here, sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, Henry's in the chat and he was just saying that here I am. Gosh, I don't know why these buttons don't work. It's my only job here is to push the buttons. And if I can't do that effectively, what does it say?
That is not your only job.
Yeah, I know. Henry's in the chat and he was saying that he had initially watched you on your video on the HELOC and then learned about MPI and that now he's going through that process to apply starting next week.
And how about this? And here's why. Whether we're talking velocity banking, infinite banking, the objective or first position or second position HELOC, what's the objective? To the point of the person who just is about to be debt free. The thought process is this. We've been conditioned to believe before you pay yourself first, you pay your bills. Before you pay yourself first, you pay off your home. Before you pay yourself first, you liquidate your retirement account to pay that bill and save that home. When that is backwards, the way we generate wealth is we pay ourselves first. Before you pay a bill, before you become debt free, you pay yourself first. Well, the question is where? Where do you pay yourself first? Well, it's all about reducing risk. So then someone tell me, other than what I'm showing here, show me what the vehicles are where you can reduce and or eliminate that risk.
Yeah.
Well, what I would expect is here come my real estate investors, right? Because there's a place that you can eliminate that risk within real estate, but it takes a lot of action. Show me passively where. The point is this. If you focus on paying yourself first and putting your money in a position where it can work for you, you end up creating a machine that prints money. And when that money starts being printed, you're now putting yourself in a position where regardless of the debt, you have a machine that can help pay off that debt. So who cares about becoming debt free? Because I put myself in a position such that I got a vehicle that all it does is print money for me. So if I wanted to pay off my house, I can. If I wanted to address that credit card, I can. If I wanted to pay off those student loans, you're absolutely right. I can. But I focused on me. And so if you don't get any other message here, it's really about paying yourself first, putting yourself in a position such that you can generate the wealth you want, have control of your time so that you can be with whoever you want when you want, so that you can have true freedom, creating your WTF moment. Let's rock.
Well, if you don't pay yourself first now, they're going to ask you later why you can't afford to keep yourself alive, why you can't afford to purchase health care because you didn't put wealth care as a priority today.
Way to slip that in there.
Yeah. I like that word. I'm going to be using it from a little more often now. It's like a favorite dress. Yeah. Wealth care. It's important though, because all we have is our time. How we use it is really sometimes we say, oh, you're in control of your time. Well, are you really, if you
Right.
feel like you're at the mercy of these systems and the way that the game that you think that you have to play, are you really in control of your time? I
Right.
think when you understand your leverage and you have a powerful strategy, then you do become more in control of your time.
And
And
it's
now you start
powerful.
yeah, and now you start to see, oh no, you're not going to get me. You're not going to be asking me, why didn't I pay myself first after you told me I had to pay myself last?
Right.
No, you're not, I'm not gonna fall for that. But we call that an okey doke. You're not gonna fall for it. And you're not gonna pull one on me. So I know better now. Doesn't matter how old you are, to the point of what we went on a ton of tangents tonight, but the point of what we were supposed to be talking about was, are you too old? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today, starting right now, whether that's leveraging a strategy to create a family bank, to some of the examples that we started today to show you how time is more valuable or less valuable or more expensive once you start to hit a certain age. It doesn't matter if you came from a wealthy family. Our goal is to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you, and it is completely possible. Time is the most valuable reset. Time is the most valuable asset that we have, and we value that you guys are spending your time here with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, on that note, stay focused,
Stay protected.
stay tuned.
And let's stay connected.
Yeah. My name's Angelique,
And I'm Donnell.
and our goal is to help you.
Get self-directed.
And to do that, we have some free resources. So stick around and learn how to grab them. And then we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Have a
Yep.
good evening.
Yep. See you Wednesday. Hey, before you go, we want to remind you that becoming fully self-directed means gaining complete control over your wealth, time, and freedom. It's not just an idea. It's a framework, a mindset, and the power to make informed decisions to secure your future. Being here means you're taking those steps, and we want to thank you for allowing us to guide you. We believe that we grow farther and faster when we grow together. So tune in next time and tell a friend to tell a friend. We've helped thousands of people just like you start their journey to financial freedom. And if they can do it, you can too. And if you're ready to learn more, we got you. Get a head start by grabbing these 2 free books. But how do they get them, Donnell?
Head over to my website where you'll have access to a few things. A ton of free resources, case studies, and over 100 5-star reviews from people just like you. And in 15 minutes, we can explore what's possible for you. So don't wait.
Invest in what you want, when you want.
But first, let us help you get
Get self-directed.